So rationalizing denominator with a monomial. That means we're going to have a single term in the denominator. And since we're dealing with these, we are working with the imaginary numbers being in the denominator. So we need to take and make sure that we have it to where there's not an imaginary part there. So we can't have this I down here. Monomial just means there's a single term, means there's no addition or subtraction in the denominator. This is the equivalent of division when you're working with complex numbers. This is the other way I could have written this was 5 plus 2i divided by 7i. And so instead of doing the division like normal, you work with it with fractions and reduce and simplify the denominator by multiplying by 1 over 1. In this case, the 1 over 1 we're going to multiply by each time is going to be I over I. As it doesn't change anything, that's when I reduce that, that's just I, or just 1, excuse me. And so it didn't change the problem, but it's going to allow us to get rid of that square root in the denominator, because that's the only place we cannot have a square root, and I being the square root of -1 counts as a square root in the denominator. And so I am going to distribute to both pieces, and so that's going to be 5i plus 2i squared, all divided by 7i squared. And then I'm going to simplify my I squares by making them -1s, and then rewrite it. So that is going to give me 5i, I'm actually going to write this over 2 lines, 5i minus 2 divided by 7i squared, or 7 times -1, which is -7. Now, we want this to be in that format that we talked about yesterday of a plus bi. So that means we need to split this apart. And so you will take and split apart the -7 to both pieces. And so you're going to do 5i divided by -7 and minus 2 divided by -7. This negative will change the sign here, making that a plus, and this negative will come up to the front. And so the way it will look at the next step is we have -5/7 I plus 2/7. And we need it in the format of a plus bi, so we need to rewrite it. And that's 2/7 minus 5/7 I. And that's what it looks like when you rationalize the denominator and divide. This will be our final answer. You don't have to show me all these steps, but just realize you're not done with the answer until you're in the format of a plus bi. Let's do one more and look at this one. This one has a negative already in the denominator. So again, we're just multiplying by that I, because we have a monomial, because there is no addition or subtraction down here in the denominator. We have a monomial. And so we're going to go ahead and distribute that to both pieces. So that's -4i plus 3i squared, all divided by -2i squared. This I squared is going to be a -1, and that's going to cause the sign in front to change. And so we end up with -4i minus 3 divided by a +2. Now we're going to split it apart, where that 2 goes to both pieces, and that negative sign will drop down in front. 4i divided by 2. This minus sign will drop down in front. 3 divided by 2. 4 over 2 can reduce, so we're going to go ahead and simplify it. That gives me -2i minus 3/2. And we want it in that format of a plus bi, so that's going to be that -3/2 minus 2i. And you are done.